Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Magic Minute. We are at number 14, and I'm calling this one The Art of Asking. So I will warn you ahead of time, there's going to be very little magic content in this aptly named Magic Minute. I want to talk about something else that has come up this week in the past couple days, and kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit. It's an interesting concept. I don't know if everyone is on the same page, and I think that's a big problem. And what we're talking about right now is content creation. The Art of Asking is actually it's the name of a book by Amanda Palmer, which puts out some very, very interesting and progressive ideas in terms of content creation and how it should be looked at in in a society of content creators. And one thing, the reason that this was started was 2 days ago, I created a GoFundMe. I recently moved from Seattle to Florida. I drove. And I noticed as I was driving through the southern states that my AC was not blowing cold. And once I got to Florida, I took the car to a mechanic, and they said the compressor was dead. Compressor is probably one of the most expensive parts of the car to get fixed. As far as I know, I'm not a car guy really. And the estimate I was given by several people was $1,400. So I started a GoFundMe, and I said this is an expense that I was not preparing for. And I spent like a significant amount of money on the move. We don't have to quote numbers here. It's not a big deal. My water heater then broke at my house. My pod was late. It was just a big hassle. This move was a very everything that could go wrong did situation. And, that's fine. That's going to happen. That's life. But then I said, this is $1,400 and maybe people will want to help. And so I made a GoFundMe, and I explained everything, and I put reward tiers. And I said, if you donate this much, I'll give you this. If you donate this much, I'll give you this. And if you donate this much, I'll give you this. And to be fair, I don't actually think a lot of people realize that. I think a lot of people just looked and said, oh, this guy's asking for money. Here's the thing. One of the most common arguments was that you get paid for my articles, right? And that's true. I do. I write for Channel Fireball. I write for Bethesda. I've written for T2 Player. I've done event coverage for Magic at one point. Yes, I get paid by these companies when I produce content for them. That is correct. That is 100% accurate. And that's no secret. Everyone knows the article model, the payout for articles, right? The other side of that coin, however, is that I spend at least 3 to 4 hours a day streaming. I produce content for YouTube. I produce exclusive content for YouTube. I also upload and edit things for YouTube. And then I also podcast the Freshly Brewed podcast with Ollie and Trazi. And that's weekly. And the thing is, none of those things I get paid for. And that's fine. I don't want it to seem like I'm doing this selflessly, or I'm doing this, as an act of, it's not a labor of love here, and I do love it, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, I'm not doing it for the money. But even by watching this video right now, you're a patron of my work. And so that brings me to my next point. The only way I see any sort of monetary compensation or compensation at all for this work, for this time that I put in, and the number I've been quoting is 20 hours. At least 20 hours a week I spend either streaming or uploading videos to YouTube or podcasting that I don't directly get any sort of income from. I draw nothing from this. This is just content I produce that has no set value attached to it. And you can watch it and consume it for free. Maybe you listen to my podcast every week. Maybe you watch my stream every week, And so, as a content creator, and I know other content creators are similar. I know Tolarian Community College. I know Wedge from the Mana Source. I know those guys are in the same boat I am, in the sense that we make residuals from things like YouTube, but that's usually not enough to pay any sort of bill consistently. And so that is where things like Patreon come in. That's where subscriptions come in for sites like Twitch. That's where donations come in. And this is all super common. But the fact is, we're at the mercy of our patrons. The people who give us patronage. And the funny thing is, I wanted to address a few comments that I've gotten on these Facebook posts that I've made. And one of them said, I won't name names because that's not the intent of this. I just want to speak directly to the arguments that were made. One of them said, when I first saw his vehicle needed repairs, I was more than willing to help. Then I saw it was for his air conditioner. I find GoFunding a luxury laughable. And that made me think, what do you expect from a content creator? Like, that's basically saying, if it was a necessity for you, I would have no problem funding it. But since it's literally just something that makes your life more enjoyable, I think it's ridiculous that you're asking for help. And that's funny because it implies that any money that I make from people who have consumed my content should be only spent for bare necessities. They should be spent for food, for clothing, I guess, for shelter, and that's it. As soon as I spend that money on anything else, such as, I don't know, a video game, magic cards to play in an event, a movie, stuff like that. As soon as that gets spent, then it's all of a sudden a luxury. And these people who are willing to support me beforehand are no longer willing to do that. And that's interesting to me, because it's just a weird outlook to have. And so another point, this person added on and said, you could think about it like this. I get paid a salary. Occasionally I have unforeseen expenses. Do I ask the person who signs my checks to take care of them? Never. I have savings for that. Also, and they reiterate the first point, I had every intention to help Frank fix his car until I learned it's still running. And this is an interesting concept. I get paid a salary. Occasionally I have unforeseen expenses. Do I ask the person who signs my checks to take care of them? Never. In this analogy, you are the person who signs my checks. That's my boss. Otherwise, in terms of YouTube videos like this is, in terms of podcasting, in terms of streaming, there's no one who signs my checks. It is literally you, my audience. And in that situation, yes, I'm asking you to take care of my expenses, to help me with my expenses. And I don't even do it that frequently, I think. I don't think I've ever been able to, I don't even think I can, you can't even ask for anything on YouTube. I don't have a YouTube Patreon. The only thing I have a Patreon for, Ollie and I have a Patreon for Freshly Brewed, but that's it. So it's an interesting concept to me, that you're going to equate me having a salary, which I don't. I'm not a salaried employee at any company right now. I'm self-employed. I write content for websites. But then the other part of my income is content, just independent content. So yes, in this situation, you are the person who signs my checks. So there's another comment that was also interesting to me. It said, Frank, if you ask for cash for your car's fan, you are asking people to pay something that isn't strictly connected to the content that you offer to the public. That's true. You are a very good content creator, and lots of people have no doubt on this, but you can't use this justification to beg people to help you in any case. I think that things are not connected to things that are not connected to the work you do aren't in your public audience's interest. Then they make an example, and they say, I can understand people that are getting upset because if let's say, for example, a lawyer has a car accident, he cannot ask his clients to help him pay for a new car just because they enjoyed his in-court services. Here's the crux of this argument. Those clients who enjoyed his in-court services have already paid him. They have already paid for his car accident because he has their money to do with as he sees fit. Both of these arguments make no sense, and they're mostly perceptive. You see me as taking money from someone and spending it on myself. But what you're not seeing is that this is just compensation for content you already enjoyed. It's a very interesting concept. And the thing is, like, to even be watching this, like, it's similar to if you rent a movie, right? Like, you've already paid for the movie up front. Content creation is the exact opposite. You have to actually say, I enjoy this. I'm going to actively pay for this, even though I've already consumed some of it, right? It's an interesting point. But both of these arguments, they don't make sense on a logical level, and they're kind of rooted in selfishness. They basically say, like, I don't want you to spend money on fun things or things that make your life more comfortable. I will sustain you either if you are going to make content with the money I give you, which is literally, You basically just want me to just churn out content. You pay me, I make more content with that money. Then you pay me, and then I make more content with that money. And I never profit from this, and it's just literally an endless cycle of content production. I just never stop. And I literally don't make a dime outside of that, if that's your intent, right? So no, I can't. I can't simply be in a position to only use the money, the income that I get from content creation, to spend it on further content creation. That doesn't wash. That doesn't make any sense. That's like saying a chef, when I buy dinner at a fancy restaurant, the chef can only spend the money I give him to buy new produce or meats or cheeses to make more entrees. Like, it's no income system in the world works like that. So it just doesn't make sense. And I think the main problem is people have a hard time giving money to something. They give their hard-earned money just for someone to have fun. They want to help someone who's down on their luck, or someone who's in need. They want to do that. But as soon as they see this person spending their money frivolously on non-necessities, then they're out. Then they're like, no, you're buying an Xbox with the money I gave you. No, I didn't give you money to buy an Xbox. But you're not giving me money because I'm some down and out soul who doesn't have, a penny to his name. Like, that's not the situation. The situation here for content creation is that, have you enjoyed my content? Have you appreciated the things I've done? Have I made you laugh? Have you ever said, boy, I really enjoyed that video. I learned something. I really like this person's content. If you have, then we've had an exchange. I've given you something, and in return, maybe you can subscribe to a stream, or maybe you can, give $1 a month to a podcast, or, maybe you can, donate to a Twitch stream, stuff like that. Like, it's a very simple exchange, but it gives you total control over that. Instead of saying, hey, I have to pay this guy $7 a month, $10 a month, like a Netflix subscription, you don't. You can literally choose to give me $5 every 3 months if that was your choice. And let's be honest, you don't have to do that. I'll never ask anyone for that. But the point is, I think we need to get to a point where we look at content creation differently and stop shaming people who ask for help when they've literally spent hours upon hours, hundreds of hours, producing content with no requirement whatsoever. And that's just something I wanted to talk about. I think it's very important for me, for every other content creator out there. I would love to speak for them. And if you guys support this video, please feel free to share it. Please feel free to like it, give me a thumbs up. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like, little things like this are definitely helpful. And I don't want anyone to ever feel, any patron of content to ever feel like we're asking for handouts or we're begging you for your charity, because I don't think that's the case. The thing is, I've made content for 7 years, and a lot of it I get paid for, but a lot of it I don't. A lot of it I see no return whatsoever. And if you've enjoyed it in any way, shape, or form, if you ever said, man, that's a funny, entertaining guy, and I learned some things from him, I don't want you to feel bad about helping me. And I don't know. I don't want to feel bad about asking you for help, I guess, is really the more important part. I don't want to feel like I'm asking for something unfair, or I'm asking for something shameful, or I'm begging. People have used the word, asking for e-handouts or e-panhandling. And I can't even express how insulting that is and how worthless that makes someone feel as a content creator. Like, you're basically saying that you're disregarding everything I've made. Someone actually said that, it's like I'm standing on a corner asking for help. And, like, sure, I can see why you'd make that comparison. Only the difference is the person on the corner just literally worked for 200 hours, and you've enjoyed that. You've literally watched all 200 hours of it, or some 200 hours of it. And you're still saying they're asking for too much, when what they're asking for is voluntary and subjective to whatever you choose. That doesn't even address the fact that I'm giving rewards away in the GoFundMe. But the point is, I think we need to get to a point where we show content creators a little more respect and stop looking down on them for asking for help when they give so much for free. And hopefully you guys agree with me. And the funny thing is, honestly, maybe 4 or 5 people saw my posts or saw my promotion of the GoFundMe and took issue with it. When, you know, the post itself had 150 to 200 likes. So, I mean, the margin between, you know, the people who actually support it and the people who don't is so thin. But it's like that previous Magic Minute that I made where I talk about bettering yourself. It's like that one where I posted the oatmeal cartoon and it said, you know, like, I get 1,000 positive comments. Yay, everybody loves me. I get 2 negative comments. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody hates me. It hits you, you know, like, it affects you, and it makes you stop and think, like, wow, am I just a beggar? Should I just get a better job? There were people saying you should get a more financially secure job. And that's a terrible thing to say to someone who's making content for a living, who you enjoy. I don't know. I think it boils down to respect. I think it boils down to our perception of jobs, our perception of income, our perception of support, and what is a worthwhile endeavor in terms of what you do with your time. And yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So please let me know. Please share this if you guys enjoy it. Please subscribe or follow. And thank you guys so much for your time. One other thing, I'm interested. Maybe I changed this from the Magic Minute to the Lepore Report. Lepore Report was an old show I did for TCG Player. I just stopped doing it because it took a lot of time. But maybe if I'm just doing these quick videos, I can just call this the Lepore Report instead. What do you guys think? Let me know. And I'll see you guys around. Next time, I promise it'll be more Magic, and I'll see you then.